After Canada, the Panama Canal and Greenland, now Trump wants the Bagram Airbase in Afghanistan. For Trump, it's about projecting power and reversing a perceived loss. For Afghans, it's about sovereignty. Why does Trump want the base back? What makes it so special? And will reclaiming Bagram escalate U.S. China tensions and potentially reignite conflict? As Abhishek Bose finds out in the next report, the outcome is uncertain.
We're trying to get it back.
Bagram Airbase in Afghanistan, once the largest U.S. military hub in Central Asia, is again at the center of global attention. President Donald Trump has warned that Afghanistan must return the base to the United States or face consequences. On Truth Social, Trump wrote, and I quote, "If Afghanistan doesn't give Bagram Airbase back to those that built it, the United States of America, bad things are going to happen," unquote. But why is this airfield so important? What makes Bagram unique? And why, decades after invading and then leaving, is Washington, D.C. still interested in it? Let's rewind to its history. Bagram is not just any military post. It was built by Soviet Union in the 1950s when both Moscow and Washington, D.C. were competing for influence in Afghanistan. During the Soviet-Afghan War in the 1980s, it was the Soviets' main stronghold. After their withdrawal in 1989, the base was abandoned. But soon it became a frontline battleground between the Taliban and the Northern Alliance in the 1990s. The Northern Alliance was a coalition of militias that fought against the Taliban's rule in Afghanistan between 1996 and 2001. The alliance was primarily composed of non-Pashtun ethnic groups from northern Afghanistan, including Tajiks, Uzbeks, and the Hazaras. After the 11th September 2001 attacks, the United States and its coalition forces seized Bagram and transformed it into their largest base in Afghanistan. Over the next 20 years, it grew into a sprawling, self-contained city. It had 2 runways, including one almost 12,000 feet long, strong enough for B-52 bombers and heavy cargo planes. The base hosted more than 30,000 troops and contractors at its peak, with hospitals, fuel depots, fast food joints, and even the controversial Parwan detention facility, which drew comparisons to the Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. From Washington, D.C., Bagram was the epicenter of the war on terror. Intelligence gathering, drone operations, and combat missions across Afghanistan and beyond were all launched from here. But in 2021, when U.S. forces fully withdrew, Bagram was vacated in July and then fell to the Taliban in August. For the Taliban, it was a major symbolic victory. For the United States, a bitter moment. So what makes it different from any other base? There are 3 major things. First, location. It sits at the crossroads of South Asia and Central Asia. From its runways, aircraft can reach Iran to the west, Pakistan to the east, and even Western China and Central Asia within hours. Second, the infrastructure. Unlike smaller forward posts, it was designed to sustain long operations. It had hardened shelters, advanced medical facilities, surveillance hubs, and housing for thousands. It could function independently like a fortress. And third, the intelligence value. From Bagram, the United States could watch Russian moves in Central Asia, Iranian activity to the west, and China's projects under the Belt and Road Initiative. For Washington, D.C., it was a goldmine for surveillance and signals intelligence. No other spot in the region combines these advantages in one place. And maybe these are the points that make President Trump seem that much interested in Bagram.
We were going to keep Bagram, the big air base, one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to him for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way.
He even linked Bagram to China, claiming that it is just an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons.
We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons.
Experts note that the nearest known Chinese nuclear test site, Lopur, is actually over 2,000 kilometers away. But still, the message is clear. Trump sees Bagram not just as a counter-terrorism hub, but as a forward base to check China, Russia, and Iran. But the Taliban have flatly rejected Trump's demand.
इनकी در برابر خاکمان یک وجب خاکمان یک بلیست خاکمان با کسی تعامل شود این چیزی است که هیچ امکان نداره و امکان پذیر نیست.
Beijing also weighed in.
中方尊重阿富汗
China respects Afghanistan's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. The future and destiny of Afghanistan should be held in the hands of the Afghan people. I want to stress that stoking tensions and creating confrontation in the region wins no popular support.
切实发挥建设性作用。
For the Taliban, ceding Bagram would mean giving up a symbol of sovereignty they've fought for decades to reclaim. For China, keeping the United States out of Afghanistan reduces the pressure on its western border. But here lies the central question. Can the US really return to Bagram?
We'll see what happens with Bagram. We're talking to Afghanistan. It should have never been given up. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. There was no reason to give it up. I was leaving Afghanistan. I was leaving. I was the one that got it down to 5,000 soldiers, but we were going to keep Bagram, the airbase. I said it yesterday, and we had an incredible trip, as you know, to UK, and I said it during the press conference. It's one of the most powerful runways ever built in terms of weight, length, and load, what it could take, and we just gave it up for nothing. We gave it up for nothing. There was no reason to give it up.
Regaining it would likely mean either of the two options. First, a military re-invasion involving tens of thousands of troops and major resources. Experts say that it would be prohibitively costly and politically unpopular. Or second, a diplomatic agreement with the Taliban, which seems unlikely since Taliban leaders insist no foreign troops will be allowed on Afghan soil. During his first term, Trump himself signed the 2020 Doha Agreement with the Taliban, promising US withdrawal in exchange for counter-terrorism guarantees. That deal made no mention of bases like Bagram. Now, trying to return raises credibility issues. Would Washington, D.C. break its own commitments? In the end, it is about more than an airfield. It's about power in Central Asia. Trump may want it back, but history shows that no foreign power can hold Afghanistan without local support. Whether America can ever regain it remains an open question. Abhishek Bose's report for DD India.